You might ask, yeah, but it's going to get too hot. It's so sunny and everything. Good point. But I'm going to shield these bags from the sun with these grease towels. I got to take note of the date, right? So today is a Friday. Hey, it's Greg here at maritimegardening.com, and I thought I'd take you with me through a little experiment here and a technique I'm going to try out here. It's a adaptation of a technique I've used before, and very confident this is going to work. But I'll follow up in a few weeks and keep you updated on the progress. So it's getting close to the last week of July. It's really hot today. It's about 28, super sunny. If you're wondering where I'm wearing this ridiculous hat, we keep it real here at maritimegardening.com, and this isn't a fashion show. I'm out here doing my gardening, and if I come up with an idea for a video, I just grab the tripod and shoot a video however I look. So I got a dirty shirt on and a crazy sort of fake French Foreign Legion sort of hat. This is one of my preferred, when it's super duper sunny, this is what I like to wear on my head because it keeps the sun off your ears and off your neck, and does a pretty good job of being sunproof, despite the fact that I look kind of foolish in it. But anyway, this bed here had lettuce, and I'm going to plant some more lettuce in it because Mrs. Maritime Gardening is a big fan of lettuce, and all my lettuce is bolting because it's end of July, so it's time to plant some more. In this bed I had the variety called Relay lettuce. Relay Organic is the variety, and of the 3 lettuces that I grew this year, this was our favorite. I'm going to grow this next year. The other 2 I'm not going to grow, so I might as well just do a little lettuce review. And also, I guess, since I never stay on topic anyway in my videos, just to give you a sense of how I keep my seeds organized, I tend to use a box like this. So this is just a wooden box I got at the dollar store, and I have the seeds all lined up. And the way I organize them isn't alphabetically. It's from like this. I think this is the front. Nope, that's the back. This is the front. So at the front here, I've got stuff that you plant early, and going towards the back, it's latest sort of thing. And then at the very end, I've got herbs because they sort of don't count because they're not food. That's just the way I keep it straight. So I've got like things like so these are all herbs here, but just ahead of the herbs, I would have different kinds of squash, cucumber, tomato, stuff like that. Then closer to the middle, I'd have beans and stuff like that, and then as we get close to the front, I got peas and lettuce and stuff like that. So my lettuce is right here in the front. So the 3 varieties of lettuce I planted this year was Paris Island Cos, which is sort of like a romaine lettuce, like what you get in a grocery store. I planted this one called easyh, which is this beautiful purple colored lettuce. It really adds a nice vibrancy to a salad in terms of color, but flavor wise, you couldn't make, at least in my, every taste is unique to everyone, but based on my experience, Mrs. Maritime Gardening and the children, many maritime gardeners, no one was, I made a salad completely of the easyh, and no one, including myself, was a big fan of it. It's kind of bitter, but it does look kind of nice. It's very beautiful color purple. This one is okay, but it's not the best. This Relay Organic, flavor-wise, was the best lettuce that we grew this year, and I'm definitely going to grow it next year. It has this sort of variegated color. So I got a little bit left, so I'm going to plant some more of that today, and I thought I'd just show you my my approach. I've just been doing a bit of weeding in this bed and sorting some things out. So here I've got a bed, and I've got it down to the, what is this here? Animal crawling on my leg here. There we go. Okay, so we got this thing down to the original soil. I got neat trick for getting this to germinate, while at the same time, you know, because this time of year it's very hot and it's very sunny, and it's a bit of a challenge to getting things to germinate, because if you're like me and you got to go to work every day, you really can't, you know, just be around managing your garden all the time. So how do you keep it watered? How do you keep it moist, and so on, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just these are the roots of the lettuce that was here earlier. I'm just pulling these out, making sure I got the soil. This is the only version of tilling I do, just moving it around with my hand like this. Okay, so that's pretty good. All right, so I'm just going to make 2 furrows here with my hand, one here, maybe half an inch deep, give or take, and another one here. 2 rows relatively close together. When you got really good fertile soil, you can plant stuff closer together than the packages say, as a general rule. And I think you'll find a lot of organic gardeners do this. So it speaks to how fertile and productive your soil gets when you're not hammering it with pesticides, fertilizer, all this sort of stuff. You're just using the organic inputs. In my case, it's usually just a mulch, right? All right, so now I got 2 nice little rows here, and where is the relay here? I don't know if I have enough seeds here. If I don't, I'll just use the Paris Island, I guess. Let's see what we got. Not a lot. Probably enough for 1 row here. Well, we'll see how it goes. I keep getting something, probably ants crawling up my legs. People are always asking me about ants in the garden. You know, I got these sand pathways. So does that cause ants? Do you have ants? Ants, ants, ants. And the answer is, yeah, I got ants. It's everywhere. And they don't do anything, at least, you know, I can only speak to my context, my experience, but I really don't have a problem with ants. They don't seem to cause any real issues in my garden. All right, I had enough of that relay for 1 row, so I'm going to have to use this Paris Island for the other row. Because if we run into lettuce, it's not going to be good for me. Because Mrs. Maritime Gardening likes her salad. Very important to keep her happy. You know what was it, the famous Dr. Phil would say, if Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy? It's very true. So let's keep her in the lettuce business here. So, you know, I tend to sow these pretty liberally. I don't hold back. I certainly oversow, and you just thin them out later. All right, so that's it. Now all I'm going to do is just sort of push the soil back like this, right? Push the furrow back. Nothing too fancy. And pat it down. Really good. Give it a good patting down. You want the seed to have really good contact with the soil. That's really important with germination. All right, that's pretty good. All right, now I'm going to water this. I don't have an irrigation system in my garden. I mulch everything, and when it rains, the mulch hangs on to rain. When I do have to water something, I just tend to use a watering can. I do have a hose hooked up here, and I use it once in a while, but very rarely. I've probably used it 2 or 3 times this year in total. So I get a gallon of water here. It's probably, actually not a gallon, it's probably 2/3 full. And I just keep applying the water. When I've sown something like this, I don't want the water to run or create a little river. But as long as the bed accepts the water, I add it. Okay, so that's well watered. Now, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to have to water this again, These are just this fertilizer that I use on my lawn. I have a grass lawn and I have to fertilize. That's the only fertilizer I use is on my lawn. I hate having to do it, but it's the only way to maintain a lawn because a grass lawn's a fairly unsustainable thing. And even then I don't use it very often. Anyway, these are old bags, probably 2 or 3 years old. And I like them because they're just really kind of solid plastic. Anyway, so I'm going to put these over the soil. Now, why am I doing that? I'm putting these over the soil so I don't have to water it anymore. Any condensation that takes place in the soil is going to hit the plastic and go back into the soil. Now you might ask, yeah, but it's going to get too hot. It's so sunny and everything. Good point. But, I'm going to shield these bags from the sun with these spruce boughs. Now I got to take note of the date, right? So today is a Friday, July something, right? So I know that in about 5 or 6 days, these seeds are going to germinate. And I'm going to have to take this stuff off. But it's so hot and it's so sunny out right now that if I just leave the soil bare, I'm going to have to come out and water this every morning, which I don't feel like doing. So by doing it this way, I mean, there's some light getting through and there's definitely heat. It's hot outside. It's 28, 29 today. That's not without that's just the raw temperature, right? So there's definitely enough heat in here for germination. And there's a bit of light getting through, right? It's dappled through the boughs. So there's enough light getting through here for the ground to warm up, and it's warm enough anyway for the seeds to germinate. These, this variety of lettuce, I sowed this. The ones I've finished harvesting, I sowed these around the end of March, early April, right? And they germinated then. So there's definitely enough heat for the seed to germinate. And there's enough light that if the seed pops up a day and I don't notice it, it'll still grow a little bit. But basically, as soon as the seedling, the slightest bit pokes up to the ground, I got to get these boughs off and I got to get the plastic off and just, maybe get a little mulch in between the rows, right? But the reason I got this plastic on is so I don't have to keep watering it every day, right? It's going to stay moist here. I'll show you a week. This is Friday. I'll show you a week from today, or give or take. When I notice them, assuming the weather's okay and all that sort of stuff, when I notice them poking their way up through, all you got to do is peel it back. After about 4 or 5 days, every morning I'll come out here early in the morning, just have a little look, see if anything goes on. Because I planted them in a row, there'll be a pattern, so I'll know that it's the lettuce that's growing and not some random weed, right? And as soon as I notice, something growing in here, I'll get all this stuff off, and so that's a general idea. It's a bit of an experiment. I've done things like this before, but not exactly like this. In mid-August or late August, I've sowed lettuce and I've just sort of sprinkled grass clippings right on the soil, again to keep the soil moist, and the lettuce finds its way up to the grass clippings. So I thought this would be a similar sort of approach, but with an even less necessity to have to water the plants every day, because this plastic should just hold the water in, and I mean, fingers crossed it shouldn't get too hot in here. We'll see. If it doesn't work, I'll know in a week. I mean, it's either going to work or it's not. I hope this gave you some food for thought. Maybe give this a try, or if you don't believe me and you're skeptical, just watch the follow-up and we'll see if it works. All right, so it's been a few days out here, and what is it now? It's Tuesday morning. After the day I sowed these lettuce. I sowed them on a Friday, and now it's Tuesday morning. I was out here last night and I just took a peek underneath and I noticed that some of them were up, so I took the plastic off. I don't know if you can see. Let's look over here. But right, I don't know, you can see that a bit of a pattern, right? might think these are weeds, but they're all the same and they're in a row. So right, that's, I think it's lettuce. And there's more of it there. All right, there's one, there's one, there's one, and so forth. So remember, I had 2 rows. This might be the second row. It's about the right spacing, but I'm not absolutely sure. That's the problem with having 2 different varieties. One, clearly, this is the where is it here? This one here is the romaine. Clearly germinates faster. So yeah, I gotta just hope the relay wasn't too late. But I can't believe that germinated in like 3 days. But I guess it's been really warm. So all I'm going to do out here is just put a little bit of cardboard down to mitigate the rate at which the soil dries out. Again, because we're full-on summer here, so I'll just show you what I'm going to do with that. Alright, so enough advancing here. Just gonna, hopefully I got the spacing right. It's a bit more narrow, so I'll go with this. I'm going to get it as close to this this row as I can, and hopefully it's not on top of the next row, like that. And the whole reason I'm doing this is just, you know, I can't keep this, you know, these are too small to mulch right now, right, to put a heavy mulch down. But this cardboard will, at least the soil underneath this cardboard will stay moist. And so that'll allow, you know, just a greater amount of moisture to be available to the plants. I always have a collection of stones in the garden. I just keep them, I got a little bench where I can sit, just keep them under there. That's how you keep your cardboard from blowing away. Don't know. Do it. There, so I mean, they're not big or anything yet, but I mean, I just wanted to show an example of a way to get something germinated in the height of the summer without really any ongoing maintenance, right? I put the seeds down, I put the plastic over them, I put these spruce boughs over the plastic to keep it from getting too hot, but then I didn't have to keep watering it day after day after day, despite getting up to 31. There was a couple days it was that hot. But it germinated in a matter of days in those conditions. And the soil's still moist, right? Despite the fact that it wasn't watered. So I've got this sort of, you know, cardboard mulch down, and once the lettuce gets a certain height, I'll just cover this with, you know, grass or whatever, you know, whatever I can get a hold of, any kind of mulch. But this is a good way to keep the soil covered when the plants are really tiny, right? And you can get it out of a dumpster, so it's easy to find, easy to source. People are always asking me, you know, how do you get so much mulch and that sort of thing, and Of course, I just hoard bags of leaves in the fall. I get tons and tons and tons of it in the fall because people are always putting it out. But another kind of mulch I like to grab is cardboard boxes. People put those out too. And if people aren't putting them out, you can just fish them out of a dumpster next to a drugstore or something like that. Usually it's fairly clear. Here where I live, there's certain dumpsters, they just put cardboard boxes in, so it's relatively clean. You're not going to find any dead cats in there or anything, so cardboard works great. I'll do some more follow-up videos on this, but I just wanted to show proof of concept, and it seems to work. The main thing is to get it off, right? So, I just came out here last night, I expected this to take 5 or 6 days to germinate, because that's, usually things germinate in that amount of time in the spring. And I guess it's just been so hot, it happened really fast. So it's a good thing I checked last night. So, that's one of those things, you got to do with a garden is you got to be around, you got to be keeping an eye on things. You don't have to do a lot of work, but you have to be present and be aware of what's going on. And when things need to get done, you just got to sort of do them. It's a weekday morning, and I got to go to work, and I got to do all my regular weekday sort of stuff. But I just came out here for 10 minutes this morning to do this, just to stay on top of it. So I found that interesting, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegarden.com. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.